Hi there, my name's Rossobject, and I'd just like to introduce you to a product I've designed which is called Loop. And Loop is a battery charger. So why a battery charger? Well, I was doing some environmental research in my final year and I found out that there's an incredible 22,000 tonnes of batteries every year that go to landfill. And the worst thing about this is that single-use batteries in particular, of which make up a large part of that figure, can be very bad for the environment if they aren't disposed of properly. So acid can leak into the soil, that pollutes groundwater, and it can really harm wildlife, and in particular fish stocks. So I tried to see, is there a better way? Is there a way of reducing the number of single-use batteries that we use in our homes? And it turns out that there is. It's the rechargeable battery. And as it goes, the actual technology for those have been steadily getting better, and today they're really rather quite refined. So understanding this, it was quite surprising to me that the adoption of rechargeable batteries has in fact been very slow. People aren't buying them, and some statistics even indicate they're 32 times better for the environment. So it seemed to me there was a clear tension between the consumer and a much better technology. So I tried to understand why this is, and I did some very in-depth research. And making personal observations and actually going into people's homes, I discovered that people actually think that battery chargers as they exist today are really ugly objects. They sit right down, right by the wall, and you know, if it's that time of year they might actually be placed next to the Christmas tree or otherwise next to the air freshener. If they're based in the kitchen, lots of stuff gets in the way of them, so they're not easy to find. And they're very superfluously designed. They have gadgety styling, they feel like really 1990s objects. But more importantly than just the aesthetics is I think that the battery charger as it exists today is probably the most backwards object you could ever wish to own. So what do I mean by that? Well, say for example you've got a camera and you want to take it out to take a few snaps while you're out for the day. Well, if it's got two AA batteries which are dead in it, you'll probably only realise that when you go to use it. So you pop those two dead cells out, and what do you want right now? You want two freshly charged cells. Well, either you had to remember in advance to have put those batteries on charge, and if you didn't, then unfortunately your battery charger punishes you and says now you've got to wait several hours. So most of us aren't going to hold up our day just for rechargeable batteries, so we go to that drawer which is stuffed full of batteries after many different weeks out shopping, and we just grab them and pop them in the camera and off we go. We don't think any more about it. But it's costing you money and it's also costing the environment too. So the huge benefit of single-use batteries is that they're always ready, and rechargeable batteries just can't match that at the moment. So I tried to see if I could take that always ready benefit and bring it to the battery recharger. And I think I've done it, and the object is called Loop, as I mentioned before. And by the act of pushing in one dead rechargeable cell, one flat rechargeable cell, by popping it in one end, you get one freshly charged cell out of the other end. So it creates a cycle of usage, a loop. In order to achieve this, the actual unit is constantly full of 8 batteries, which are being monitored and charged. And to avoid overcharging, current is dropped from the batteries once they're charged, and so there's quite a great deal of electronics actually going behind the device to make it work. But one of my other goals was actually to inform the user of the long-term benefits of using the object. So if we just have a look at the outside, there's a clear loop which lights up different colours, and that will inform the user of the different benefits. Say for example, after 5 full cycles it's predicted that the battery recharger will have paid for itself. So with 8 cells in there, that's 8 times 5, you've then reached the retail price. You're now effectively on free charging. At this point, the actual loop would change colour to inform the user of the long-term benefit, which could then be looked up, say for example, on a smart device or on the internet to understand what that new colour means. The other thing about the device is I've tried to make it so that it actually fits into the home. It's not too loud, but also it still makes you notice it as you go past it every now and then. It's actually freestanding at the moment, but it is designed to be mounted on the wall. And I tried to make it as intuitive as putting up, say for example, something like a family picture frame. So by just taking this small unit that comes with the object and just screwing it into the wall, you can then pop your loop onto the wall and then just wire it down to the mains. So it's a very simple installation process. And the actual unit, this is a prototype you're looking at here, one of many iterations, and you might just be able to see from the light that it's actually got a control circuit running in the front, controlling the voltage and the current as I mentioned before, and at the rear it's got 2 charging circuits, and what those charging circuits do is give the batteries their charge, but also individually assess each battery as they're actually inside the unit. So creating Loop has been an incredibly interesting development process, starting all the way from the very first sketches, all the way to trying to really observe users and giving them cardboard mock-ups and seeing what was the most intuitive way of getting batteries out of the charger. After that I developed foam models and then went all the way to 3D prototyped models as well as visualizations at the same time to give an inkling as to what the product might be like if it was actually finished. And so I've tried to create a product that really reduces consumption of single-use batteries and therefore eliminates waste and stops overproduction of these single-use batteries. And I hope that in this way it will really change people's behaviour for the better, but also reward them at the same time with an object that really truly saves them money and stops all that rubbish going to landfill. Thanks very much for taking the time to listen to my entry.